Hello, this is Todd Danielson, the editorial director of Informed Infrastructure. Today I'm here with Paul Trautmann from Sherwin-Williams Protective and Marine. Hi, Paul. Why don't you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Good morning. Thank you for letting me be here today. I'm excited to talk with you. My name is Paul Trautmann. I am the marketing director for our infrastructure segment for Sherwin-Williams Protective and Marine Division. That infrastructure segment includes water, bridge, and then commercial institutional structures. Our division, many of us know Sherwin-Williams, but our division is actually focused on high performance coatings and linings for corrosion protection and aesthetic enhancement of infrastructure assets, sort of across the board, whether it's immersion, exterior exposed, a lot of different environments. I've been with Sherwin-Williams now for about 20 years. I've got about 30 years of paints and coatings experience, some of it as a contractor, some of it as an applicator. But this industry has really allowed me to be mentored by some great people along the way and offered a lot of growth opportunities as well. Before this role as a marketing director, I spent 15 years working directly with owners and engineers, helping with specification development, solving problems on projects, working through specific solutions that were needed on a given situation or project. It was really great work for me. I enjoyed my time working with engineers, having that opportunity to talk about what we learned, what the process is, how we can be, successful as a coating organization, working with the design organization. So for us, water infrastructure is an extremely important business segment for our company. Our resources, solutions are specifically designed to improve the life of constructed assets, and our organization is fully aligned with sustainability goals of the industry. So we divide up our water infrastructure into basically working conditions. So part of today is talking about sewer collection and conveyance. We also work through water and wastewater treatment facilities, transmission, and water storage. That's a little bit about me.
I know that sounds great. That was a nice background. I'm sure that one of the things that coatings is key is trying to get longer service lives and sustainability, so we're not burning through assets as much as we need to be. Do you mind telling about how Sherwin-Williams helps achieve those kind of goals?
Absolutely. Working towards delivering long service life is really our primary goal for our end customers. Our products have to work, right? Specific to our topic today, successful protection of underground assets is accomplished through technology and through well-defined processes. From a process standpoint, the beginnings of that process is really understanding working conditions and environmental impacts. So I'm from California. Nice, sunshiny, beautiful day today, but our underground structures suffer from low water flows and high levels of H2S, corrosive gas, and microbiological corrosion. Contrast that to the southeastern states that do have water. Their issues are different. Their issues may very well be inflow and infiltration, fugitive water entering into a collection system. A lot goes into that material selection process. And when I think about the industry solutions, there are a number of competing technologies, right? One could almost call it fragmented. More rigid epoxy linings or more flexible urethane-based lining options are really the most common choices today. And each of those will have rehabilitation materials associated with them for moving that process forward or rehabilitating that existing asset. For us, validating our solutions is critical to this discussion. Tests such as severe wastewater analysis performed by Corrosion Probe as an engineering firm that exposes panels to H2S and carbon dioxide gases, or the Green Book Pickle Jar test, which is a very important test for the city of Los Angeles and a lot of other Southwest states, are steps that we take to just expose our coatings to very corrosive environments that confirm the products are going to work. I mean, we want owners to install our materials into assets such as wet wells, pipes, manholes and know that it's going to work. But when we get through all of that, what really matters or what gets to be so critical is actually the application process, right? The application of linings is essential to achieving the longer service life goals that we all talk about. And as a supplier of the solutions, I do feel like it is our responsibility to ensure our end-use customers, that contracted applicator, is well-versed on products, equipment, situation analysis, and even just all the steps that are necessary to properly install our systems. I think the contractor of today needs to be very skilled, educated. With the high cost of doing business, mistakes, miscues are so painful to a contractor's bottom line, the general contractor's schedule, and even the owner's investment, that really our responsibility and role here in this industry is to develop people, develop solutions, and then bring all of that together in a way that we can all learn and move forward. But we do certainly appreciate that applicator and do find that that application process is essential.
Yeah, that makes sense. So I would think that for them, it seems like an intuitive process to apply something, but I bet there's probably some certain expertise that they wouldn't obviously maybe just do on their own. So how do you guys give them that expertise and be able to make that application the correct way so that they're not wasting all of this time and money on a great product that was poorly applied and performed?
Absolutely. So this is actually really my favorite part of the business. Just imagine, right? A group of installers, foremen, our technical service team, equipment manufacturers, huddling together for a couple of days, going over technical data sheets, going over equipment, how to use it, learning the key aspects of surface preparation, coatings installation, and then applying quality control techniques to their work to confirm that that application is correct. Couple that together with the classroom and the lunches. There's also, anywhere from 4 to 8 hours worth of just hands-on application. And I really think this is where it all comes together. Shared stories of successes, shared stories of failures, and then how did we correct those failures? I think those moments create accelerated learning opportunities for all of us. Not only for the installing contractor, but frankly from us, because I think that as we go forward, we continue to learn from our customers as much as we are learning, as they are learning from us. So our program is called the Certified Applicator Program, or CAP for short, right? Our program is designed to bring us closer to specific applicators that are working inside of the sewer collection industry, that are doing rehabilitation on manholes, lift stations, or other underground assets. The CAP program is designed to teach fundamental skills, how to do each individual repair of the concrete, repair of inflow or an infiltration, apply the actual coatings. But all of that knowledge really benefits our owners, which is our end customer, right? I am a supplier to a contractor contracts with an owner. At the end of the day, both of us got to perform. And we believe that by transferring the knowledge to the applicator, that is going to be the best method for both of us to deliver that quality and that value to that owner.
Okay, so I think you clearly established the importance of the application process. But let's talk about some of those specific details. I don't know much and don't consider myself an expert, but I am a homeowner, so I do some painting, and I am aware that one of the key steps is that surface preparation. If you don't get that right, the rest of it can go downhill. Can you tell me a little bit about that step and how it applies to your products?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. True. Sherwin-Williams, obviously very big in the house paint business, and I'm hopeful that you've used our products across your whole entire home. I promise you I've done the same here. But in the protective coatings industry, there's a lot more emphasis placed on surface preparation. these materials do so much more than just provide color, right? They resist extreme chemicals, they resist physical attack. Achieving a clean, properly profiled surface is the first step in successful applications, whether that's new assets or rehabilitation of old assets. On new concrete surfaces, the surface preparation process is more straightforward. Clean that surface, create the appropriate profile, measure moisture content, and then remove all that residual dust before we begin whatever those next steps are. Where it starts to get interesting is on a rehab project, right? Consider a manhole that's 15 years old. It's going to be worn, potentially contaminated. The concrete itself will potentially be contaminated, but of course that surface is going to be extremely dirty. So there's just a lot more to consider than just replacing the old and putting in the new. For example, pH of concrete will indicate whether or not a concrete itself is contaminated. Concrete is generally more alkaline, pH 10 to 11, but if after surface preparation during a rehabilitation project, if you see that pH below 8, that's a clear indication that something else is going on inside of that concrete that will essentially make it contaminated, and there may be extra steps needed to remove that concrete or to remove that corrosive mechanism, because the last thing we want to do is put a coating over concrete that could essentially continue to erode underneath the protective lining all by itself.
Okay, so I can understand it better, perhaps a specific of what surface preparation looks like in the field?
Absolutely. So a lot of different tools are available: high pressure water washing, abrasive blasting, or a combination of both, where I'm blasting with sand aggregate that's going in there. The whole goal here is first to remove all of my contaminants from the surface, create profile. Once I've got a clean and profiled surface, I can then go through and understand what that concrete really looks like. Adjust for pH, adjust for weak layers. Any of those next steps can be identified once we've essentially exposed that concrete. So as we even look at it, there's other things in there that are just critical to that process, right? Just kind of going back to geography, along with the surface prep. Once I've done that surface prep, things like in southeastern states, inflow and infiltration will be clearly obvious. You'll be able to see fugitive moisture coming into your collection system. And in those moments, the CAP contractors, our certified contractors, are trained on how to use urethane grouts that dispel that water. Watching those grouts work is really exceptional. Kind of like a little science project, if you will. Little water, little grout, expands into a beautiful foam. That foam pushes that water away from that surface. For an owner, that's critical step, right? They got all this fugitive water coming in that eventually ends up in the treatment plant that's only designed to handle 5 million gallons a day, and it's being hit with 10 million gallons a day. So all of these little different steps requires the shift in work process, the equipment used, and even how an environment is maintained through that rehabilitation process. So I personally see all of these being critical knowledge points for that installer to really go forward.
All right, thanks, Paul. I think I understand the surface prep and then some of the application processes a lot better with some of those specific details that I can visualize. Up next, what about the coating applications? Once we get to surface prep, what kind of goes on next with the coating process?
Applying coatings is critical to realizing service life, right? We all have expectations that we're going to make an investment, so we want those things to work. But before a guy will actually get started with any of that application process, that certified applicator is going to read ambient conditions, including temperatures, humidity, sun exposure, confirm that all those conditions are aligned so that the application can work well. Got to keep in mind, right, that this is confined space entry work. So OSHA processes, special equipment to actually enter that confined space are critical to success. Every certified applicator in our system maintains that highest level of certification when it comes to the health and safety of their people. Because nowadays, most of the material used in the manhole rehabilitation requires advanced plural component equipment, and the technologies are designed to be applied at up to 1/4 of an inch thick. So it's really important that these installers understand how heat and pressure work together with these advanced spray equipment materials to achieve those uniform thicknesses, to have those thicknesses be at spec and uniform as well as pinhole free. But as a final step in that process, the contractors will take, and once the manhole is coated, they'll seal the final gap between the manhole lid and then the actual manhole itself to keep those gases out. I would just say this is not easy work, right? My hat is off to those men and women who are doing this work every day. It's critical for us, for the infrastructure, and keep our infrastructure intact. But it's definitely not just show up and put a little paint on the surface.
Okay, thanks. I think I was following on pretty well. There was one phrase I'm not clear about: plural component equipment. Could you tell me a little bit what that is?
Oh, absolutely. So companies like Graco provide units that are designed to move materials that are 100% solids. 100% solids materials use alcohols as diluents rather than thinners. So they need heat and they need pressure in order to take what is a liquid that's very heavy bodied and move it forward. So a plural component pump, really cool machine. Literally part A and part B travel down a pump, down a hose, and then join at a mixing block. And then once joined at a mixing block, there's approximately 10, 15 minutes tops of working time for that material inside after that mixing block to apply that material. So these pumps are designed to work with the advanced coatings that really perform in a manhole rehabilitation or a manhole lining project. Anything that's underground is best suited using plural component equipment and the coating types associated with that equipment. Those coatings are like full-bodied, 250 mils, extremely dense. It's very hard for chemicals or moisture or anything to permeate those types of coatings. But the counter to that is this plural component equipment's required.
All right, I always think it's fascinating. There's such these technically detailed machines and things for such a specific little project or part that needs to be done so well. So that's thank you. I'm gonna have to watch a video later, but that sounds pretty fascinating. So it seems like we've covered the application process, the pre-process, what needs to be done. And now that it's been installed and lined, how do we know that it was done correctly? And who determines if it is done? Are there standards? Are there supervisors? How does they know that they've done the job correctly?
Well, great question and good thoughts. The driving rule book for any project really is the owner specification. That is developed with a partner engineer, delivered as a bid opportunity for us and the contractor to compete. The specification calls out the specific processes and thicknesses required to complete the project. It will also give kind of the quality control methods that particular contractor will have to adhere to while they're doing the work. As a guiding principle, certified applicators follow quality control processes to confirm that they're achieving the work. This would include recording data of each phase of work with some pictures, ambient conditions, condition of the concrete after rehabilitation, and then even the details of the lining installation. The owner is the one who acts as the quality assurance individual. So in other words, the owner is going to have oversight over the contractor's work and their quality control methods. First things first, the lining thickness is going to be measured during the application while the material is wet. to measure wet film thickness. With 100% solids coatings and plural component equipment, the linings are essentially transferred wet to dry at 100%, right? So if I put 250 mils on wet, I'm going to be able to achieve 250 mils dry. So these coatings with these plural component application equipment typically are dry to touch and ready for final inspection in just a couple of hours. And this is really where that quality control, quality assurance, and the knowledge is transferred to an owner that the work that was completed was done correctly. So a certified applicator will use an ultrasonic gauge, a very unique thing that you put right over the top of the coating, and it will measure the coating thickness by using ultrasonic waves to measure and bounce off of the concrete substrate behind the coating. These gauges are newer, but very helpful in finding low film thickness areas that would need repair. And then finally is holiday detection. And holiday detection is unique. It's step. It looks for the discontinuities in the film. Using electrical currents set at 100 volts per mil, the holiday detector just beeps at you, right? It tells you right away, you got a problem right here. So those areas get marked. And then once the inspection is done, repair procedures are completed. Those are usually outlined by the supplier of the particular coating. And then once again, come back and do the holiday detection to confirm that what the end result is a complete monolithic film of the correct material, correctly applied. And at that point, you now have a deliverable for your owner.
So is having a certified applicator part of the the legal process, the specification? Are they required, or does it just mean that you've got a higher level of confidence in what they're doing and that it's correct?
It's a great question. It actually is both, in my opinion. Not only are owners requiring certified applicators, you see that consistently in sewer collection, manhole lining, rehabilitation projects, but it's really good for the industry, right? Because it demonstrates the fact that the supplier and the contractor are completely aligned on the work. We've spent the time in the trenches understanding what could go wrong so that when we get there and we're doing the job, we're successful. So I feel like both applies to that question. And I certainly, our CAP program has grown, the number of contractors who are working with us. But it's essential to really create peace of mind, if you will, for the owner, that the people that are coming to do the work are prepared, they're capable, and the outcomes are successful.
Okay, so the certification of the applicators, I'm sure, gives the asset owners peace of mind. But does the certification also show that they that the materials are going to do the job that they work with? How much are the materials involved in getting the applicator certified, so that they know that this is going to do what it says it's going to do, and they can show that? Is that part of the training?
That is absolutely. When you think about material selection, generally speaking, in a project, the owner will provide the 1, 2, 3 products that they have approved or have listed on their specification as first choice. Most owners are open to alternates. So each of those little aspects drive the opportunity for success for both the end use customer, the owner, as well as for us.
Okay, could you describe some of the examples of what they're looking for, and then what the I guess what the applicator is trying to show in these products? Like what is it that works and that the owners are wanting to see?
Look, from a coatings perspective, permeability, resistance to H2S, resistance to microbiological corrosion, which ends up turning into hydrosulfuric acid that's left on a substrate, high flow conditions, overflow conditions, any of those types of scenarios will either wear on coatings or attack coatings from a chemical resistance standpoint. So kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, for Sherwin-Williams, we want to vet those products completely. So we will use and work with companies like Corrosion Probe, KTA, these industry leaders that have developed tests that validate that these coatings can survive these industries and survive these situations, frankly. The other thing that works is case histories, right? So Sherwin-Williams has been around for a minute. Our products have been around for a minute. We try desperately to keep track of all the work that we do because I think that's really valuable. As you go forward, people are somewhat hesitant to try new. Sherwin-Williams as an organization is not new. We've been around for 180 years. But some of the products that we do bring to the market are new. That validation process really makes the difference, and those are the things that the owners will be looking for. And it starts with those third-party tests, and it ends with performance things, such as compressor strength or elongation capabilities. You have to imagine a manhole that's underground, cars going over it every day. There's going to be flex, there's going to be movement. So even just working through what are the physical attributes of that film once it's cured, how well can it survive a little bit of movement on a consistent basis? What makes a difference in those situations is really the third-party testing, and then frankly, the validation process. So as I was working through, just as an example, right, when we were visiting with City of Phoenix and working through approvals with their organization and Dibble Engineering, there was a lot of conversation, but the thing that made the difference for that organization was a year of letting the coating sit in the manhole and just do the work, right? And come back and take a look at it and, oh, your coating's still there. You're in a great place. We'll approve you. Those are the steps that are typically involved in just helping an owner understand a particular product, what its abilities are, and then to calculate approvals for the different suppliers that they're going to entertain. Does that help?
It does help, yes. And I think, it's intuitive that asset owners would want things to be, the often bottom line driven, money, time, personnel, and things. And it's clear that, it's clear to me that they can see, why the coatings work. Can you explain a little bit though about how this the certification program shows tangible benefits to owners?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, we all work on relationships. So our program is designed to highlight those contractors that have taken the time to dedicate resources to knowledge, to process, to staying in the industry. So for us, that program and the connectivity of that program is really an ability to, frankly, you can go to our website, you can find 50 guys that have real knowledge of how to work inside of a manhole, reconstruct that manhole, rehabilitate that manhole, put it back into service so it can run for the next 50 years. Those relationships may not be known by the other owner. So if an owner in North Dakota is looking for a guy to do 50 manholes, where is that resource located? And where does the trust begin and where does the knowledge begin? With Sherwin-Williams, our goal here is to put all of that trust and all of that knowledge right up front, personal and available to be reviewed, to be talked about, and then really to highlight the working partners and partnerships that we have today to give that owner just peace of mind as you're working through their end of their projects.
Okay, so I imagine you're trying to work hard to establish trust with these owners that this is all going to work out, and part of your certification program is to show that they've got trust. And I guess after you've proven yourself in once or twice, I think that would build. But say it's on like the first try, their first use of this CAP program. How does Sherwin-Williams stand behind its certified personnel?
Oh, yes, for sure. So Sherwin-Williams offers extensive warranty programs. These warranty programs are designed to be aligned with the requirements of a given owner. They often are a greater offering than what the owner is requiring. We really want to create a level of assurance within the process, the certified applicator process, that we're putting our money where our mouth is. And essentially that seems to be the key driver, is that warranty and that ability to warrant the work, where it shows that we as an organization and the contractor as an organization are both willing to put our money where our mouth is and give that warranty assurance to that owner at a level that's above what is asked.
To have that much trust into the people you're certifying, what do you need to see from a person trying to get certified to give them your trust, Sherwin-Williams' trust?
Well, that kind of goes with time and experience, right? Which is why the certified applicator training program is so critical for us, because that's the 4 days where we sit with the actual applicators, the estimators, job foremen, project managers, and we get to really take a deep dive into how we feel work needs to be completed, how the contractor would want to accomplish their goals. And then there's that moment of collaboration where the two come together, and at the end, processes are confirmed, SOPs are written, and at that point, then you have a contractor who is prepared and ready to go. Now, I won't kid you. There are a great number of contractors that are already in the business, and we are always looking to attract those contractor installers to become part of Sherwin-Williams' program. Like I said earlier, the business itself is pretty fragmented. There's a lot of suppliers out there. There's a lot of applicators, and you've got kind of an across the board type of opportunity to accept a lot of options. For Sherwin-Williams, we want to make sure that option that we offer is the best. To do that, I've got to vet product, I've got to vet contractors, and I've got to create partnerships so that essentially when that owner sees someone coming, they see Sherwin and a contractor coming together. And when we do that right, it's really amazing.
All right, Paul, that was a really great wrap up. I think I've got a very good understanding now. And now I'm going to give you a chance to kind of put it out there. So let's say that someone in the audience wants to become an applicator, or there's some asset owners out there that are looking to have an applicator work on their projects. What do they need to do to both either become an applicator or find applicators who are certified?
Absolutely. So inside of our organization for the owners, we have a group of what I would call business development team that is working directly with owners every day. You can find those groups of people right on our website under Sherwin Protective and Marine. For the sake of an installing applicator, any contractor who's interested in working with Sherwin-Williams, if you go to our water industry resources page, you will find a place for the installer to apply to be trained with Sherwin-Williams on the installing process. That same page also has the list of our certified applicators. So an owner can go to that page, find the 2, 3, 4 guys in their state that we've worked with, be able to include them in an approved applicator list for a given project. And then they'll also be able to find guide specifications and really contacts, so that, look, every time you do a job, it's not the same. It's not a cookie cutter moment. So it requires a conversation to understand. And we've got people that are here every day to talk to those folks, help work through the nuances of the individual project. But all of that can be found Sherwin-Williams Protective and Marine website, Industry Solutions.